Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Vainglory Invitational Series, brought to you by Mob Crush. And tonight we have an incredible show lined up for you as we start the sixth and final week of the VISPRO regular season. And of course, starting tonight, we have some matches that are going to be very, very critical for two of the teams that may have a shot, very slim shot, at making it into the playoffs. As we get these games started with you in just a minute. Joining me tonight as my fellow analyst as well as my caster, as I will be filling in for caster as well during these matches, is Brerman. Brerman, how's it going?
Fantastic. Great to be here, Dragon. Looking forward to tonight. Tonight's a big night, as you already mentioned, moving towards the finals next week. So, yeah, I'm really excited for what we got going on tonight.
It really is. We've got a full deck of basically the most important games of this week. So it sucks they're both tonight, but they are both tonight. And those are the games, of course, GankStars versus Phoenix versus Team Phoenix and TSM versus Ardent. And there's actually very slim chances. So right now, if we look at the standings here, and we're going to take a look at that right now, basically, you've got, oh, hold on, let me get the standings up here in a second. There we go. Basically, we got here is, we've got Hammers Esports, Team Phoenix, and Nemesis already qualified for the playoffs. They're in, they've got enough points, and we've got Team Solo Mid with 5 points, and GankStars and Ardent Gaming with 3 points each. And the way it works out, Brerman, is that if Ardent tonight after the second game beats TSM 2-0, they will be having the tiebreaker and will surpass Team Solo Mid to get in. But if GankStars also wins, they actually split with Team Solo, so they would have a tie with Team Solo Mid and Ardent Gaming. So there's a little bit of a tie potential where either one of these teams actually has a slim chance. So we'll be watching these games very closely today.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So just to kind of break that down a little bit, GankStars, Team Solo Mid, and Ardent all need wins tonight. 2-0 if they can get them just to secure their spot. Phoenix is already in, as you already mentioned, but they can really do something, well for themselves moving on, kind of pick their opponent almost if they let GankStars in, if they let GankStars get the better of them, or if they just completely shut them down tonight. But I don't see Phoenix playing any sort of long game here. They're going to just go for the gut as quickly as they can, as I've seen them play.
Right, and that's our first game for today, so let's just take a quick look at that matchup. As we look at it, it's going to be Team GankStars versus Team Phoenix here, and the rosters, there's a little bit of a change here for GankStars specifically, as we've got Excelsior, and I hope that's the correct pronunciation, so someone in the chat let me know, and then of course with Delphi and Mac Daddy going up against Old School, Stasbake, and Rex. So, I'm sorry, and that is Delphi. My apologies as well. And so, there's a little bit of change there. Iraqi Zoro is not playing tonight as he actually is traveling. So this is a substitution. But Zelciar is a fairly new name to this roster lineup. We haven't actually seen him in any, or at least none of the recent VISPRO matches.
Yeah, that's true. I've seen him play around, I believe, on a couple different teams in his career, and GankStars is a great spot for him. He's going in tonight with 2 really solid players. Lone Delphi, just seems to keep getting better and better. He has just been a madman on Kestrel lately. So I think Excelsior's got a really good shot here at having some fantastic games. But, Phoenix, they've got Old School, Status Baked, Wrecked. I mean, these guys are legends right now in the field, so they have a tough matchup.
Yeah, they really do. Because as we get into this match tonight, we're looking at, GankStars basically has to 2-0, and even then they have to rely on a bunch of other things happening, and also a potential tiebreaker taking place with Ardent. More details on what that entails. So they've got a 2-0, and then hope that Ardent also 2-0s, because otherwise TSM will take that 6th win, get that 6th point. And remember, this is a point-based league for everybody who may be watching for the first time. It's 2 matches, best of 2, and so it's all based on points here to get into the championship week, which will be taking place next week. So this is all or nothing for GankStars. They've got to put everything on the line going up against Team Phoenix. And Team Phoenix, just coming off the Vainglory Live Championship over in Seattle, did pretty well, ranking in the top 4. Did fall to Hammers in that semifinals matchup, but they're looking to come out here pretty strong. This is not a time to kind of sit back and relax. They definitely want to show that, nope, they still got it. There's no problems. They want to definitely perform well tonight because this is the end of the summer season. And this is the final tournament that they're in to kind of, supplant and kind of put their mark on this season, as, we still are in the discussion for the top couple of teams.
Well, yeah, and they're second in the VISPRO league right now, so they need to, in my opinion, they need to win tonight, get that 2-0, just sweep GankStars, get the momentum rolling to go to the finals, to give themselves the best shot at getting a little payback against Hammers. Hammers sitting at 10-0 in the VISPRO right now. They are dominant as far as this league here goes. So, Phoenix has got a lot to prove in that department.
Yeah, they really do. They can't take their foot off the pedal. They've got to keep moving ahead this season until the summer season is at close, and we get ready for the fall season, which is going to be coming up. Autumn season is really, really close, guys, as the update will be coming I believe next week. That's when the season ends officially on the calendar. So it's going to be very exciting as we kind of close up this summer season here at VISPRO. So looks like we're just about ready to start this match, man. I'm excited to get into it. So without further ado, we are going to take just a quick break. And when we come back, we'll be starting game number 1 of this first series for week number 6.
Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.
All right, folks, we're into game number 1 of the draft between GankStars and Team Phoenix. Now, GankStars with the first ban. They're banning out Samuel. No surprise on my end. Dragon. There's a lot to be said about the crystal power that's coming to the fold lately, as these last 2 crystal powered heroes have just been real monsters. So yeah, as you mentioned, no surprises as far as the band go, and the Finn pull possibly by GankStars, also very kind of sticking with the flow of what we're seeing. Finn, a fantastic support nowadays. Oh, huge flex picks, because that Lance could be status baked in the jungle. I got excited thinking about it because he plays a mean Lance. So, it just as easily could be wrecked. We've seen him being a fantastic support on Lance, but I think you're... Oh yeah, I hope so. He's been a demon on those one-shot, one-kills, so that's really exciting. Yeah, getting low Duffy there in the jungle on Kestrel, and they're hovering over something very exciting here. I don't know. Are they going to do it, Dragon? Oh, there it is. The saw pick by GankStars. That was an interesting reaction. Phoenix is going to round this out. They're hovering over that sky there. That would most likely put status baked on the sky in the jungle, and a wrecked running that Lance as a support. So the teams are locked in, and it is Finn, Kestrel, Saw versus Adagio, Lance, and Sky. How you feeling about this?
Much better after I figured out that my audio was muted this whole time, so I do apologize for everybody. A little bit of a different setup here going into today's matches, so I do apologize. But yeah, very exciting draft, and Berman, you did a great job breaking it down. I think, like we were talking about, I'm going to be honest, the Adagio on Old School, that is a very powerful pick, and that's something that I think, you know, if you're the enemy team, not sure if that was something you wanted to let them have. So we're going to see how this plays out for GankStars, though. They do got a solid pick as well. I mean, the Kestrel, Saw, and Finn, you know, you see a lot of people when they do the push comp, they really like to have that Finn to kind of help keep that Saw alive.
Yeah, well, you know, GankStars grabbed that Finn first, and as you mentioned, you know, when you've got the combination of Old School and Adagio possible, they have to be thinking that that could happen. You know, Old School has been playing a lot of him, and Adagio is such a powerful hero right now. So maybe they were, you know, willing to give that up for this comp that they have got working on their side. You know, maybe Lone Delphi and the Kestrel is what they're pulling for here. So we do see the teams all kind of moving their way towards the center of the map. Excelsior and Old School up there in the jungle. That's Robot Saw tracking down that emo Adagio. Meanwhile, Phoenix and GankStars down in the jungle. They're trading a little bit of fire, but they're not really going to make anything of this. GankStars rotating back up to the lane to provide a little bit of backup to their Saw.
Yeah, nice rotation up there. You see GankStars, they don't want to risk any kind of push, especially considering they need to push heavily with the Saw. But you do see Excelsior taking a lot of damage from that Sky. Statsbake actually going to be, you know, playing on the Sky here, doing a lot of damage. You don't see him on Sky a whole lot, and not because he's not efficient on it, mostly just because there's just so many other picks he prefers. But Lone Delphi, as we predicted on that Kestrel, just doing phenomenal. Like, just the poke damage you're going to see coming out of Lone Delphi, that's going to be very critical for GankStar's success.
Well, he landed that active camo perfectly on both members of Team Phoenix, but we did see Wrecked with a beautiful impale to help bring down Excelsior very early into this game. So the first kill going over to Phoenix there in that exchange. Meanwhile, they're still trying to put a little bit of fire onto Mac Daddy while Statusbake is stealing some jungle farm here. So Phoenix putting some solid pressure on GankStars. They are not, oh look, they're going right back into the back jungle here. They're denying Lone Delphi. He is impaled and he's being fired down and finished off with a forward barrage by Statusbake. Really nice team play there. Yeah. Mac Daddy is also having trouble up in the lane trying to help Excelsior, who's burning down on Adagio.
Oh, Old School almost goes down. It was so close. What, like, basically surviving on the bare minimum of health, like, you know, just a few health points left. Does make it out. You thought that Saw would have one more tick on that suppressing fire. Does not pull it down, though. Does not get the kill. But, you know, this is going to allow Excelsior to push a little bit. This is what Saw needs to be doing, and he hasn't been able to. The harass coming out of Phoenix right now with the Lance and the Adagio is just too much for this Saw to handle.
Yeah, he is. Oh, he's going to fall again right there early in the game, but only a 500 gold lead going over to Team Phoenix at this point. So GankStars doing a great job of staying in this. Lone Delphi fantastic in that middle range, just kind of keeping Statusbake and Wrecked at bay, making them need to dive in to get any sort of significant damage onto him. That's the smart way to play this. You know, he wants to make them pay every chance he can. He's doing a good job already with those active camos.
Absolutely, and you know, you look at like this early game pressure, especially with the way that you see Wrecked build that Lance with the double weapon blade. There's just a lot of damage right now on the side of Phoenix, and it's just too much in the lane, and they've been rotating up to the lane a lot to make sure that Saw doesn't push. It's just been too much for GankStars to kind of handle. They've not been able to push with the Saw. They need to, since they've got a weapon Saw. His late game potential is just not as strong as this Adagio that's played by Old School is going to be. Old School, man, he's getting the harass he needs. He's got the CS, doing a great job, 10 CS above a Saw. If you're Excelsior right now, you're not happy with that.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's getting bullied back by Old School. Meanwhile, we saw Wrecked pick up the kill on a Lone Delphi there. Team Phoenix really just kind of applying their pressure here. Meanwhile, GankStars are double weapon blade. That gets, you know, that falls off a little bit later in the game. You know, unless you've got those bone saws building up on some serious armor, you're going to be fighting at a bit of a disadvantage. So GankStars needs to pick up the pace a little bit here, need to get back in this game. They're almost 1,000 gold down at this point, and Phoenix is continuing to steal farm. So this is a tough spot for GankStars to be in early in the game. Lone Delphi getting caught again by another impale on Wrecked. Wrecked with that kind of investment damage early in the game. You know, he might sell off at least one of those weapon blades later on to prioritize more armor there. Mac Daddy landing a nice quibble and a polite company to pull in the members of Team Phoenix. Excelsior coming down to support, but Phoenix not backing off, but still trying to harass this minion miner here. They're gonna pick it. No, it's gonna go over to Excelsior.
Yeah, nice double quibble.
Statusbake picked it up for a moment.
You know, yeah, really close, but they do end up picking up. They kind of need that. They kind of need to put a little bit. They need the gold to let that kind of go over the Phoenix this early in the game. Gold shift plus that loss of vision, just not what you want to see happen. Old School though is able to keep pressuring this lane. He's been able to keep the lane completely pushed all the way over to GankStars' side of the turret, and that's, you know, if you're Adagio going up against the SAW comp, that's perfect, playing into your hand exactly. Oh, but Old School does take a lot of damage. Will he get out of here alive? One more heal. Wow, holy crap.
Wow. Wow, Wrecked doing a fantastic job at the right moment there, diving in on Lone Delphi and shutting down his damage as he was just one auto attack away from
Oh my goodness, I can't believe he wasn't, Saw wasn't able to get one more auto. They just needed one more. It just seemed...
One anything.
Again, second time we've seen this, and again, when the Old School, super low, doesn't even have the energy or the ability to heal himself. He's able to actually just get out and get away, and that's... You know, you got to push this lane. You've got to get Old School off the map to get that done. And, you know, they have not been able to secure these kills except for maybe one time. So, actually, no, 0 times. Old School with no deaths yet, but very close. And there's a nice kill by Status Bake, pressuring on. Again, the SAW push comp with the Finn, it's just not doing the job right now in the early game, and that's a problem.
Yeah, they're going to need to rely more on more. We do see Mac Daddy falling as well to Status Bake. And finally, a return kill of Excelsior onto Status Bake. They're getting up their first kill at almost 6 minutes into the game. Excelsior trying to pick up Old School now. He's
again, Old School with the near-death experience. He just cannot go down. And, you know, he didn't even have support that time. He was just on his own. Great use, stutter-stepping, out-stutter-stepping the SAW there. You saw them both super, super close. He coming out on top. A lot of thanks to his B to be able to get that A and B to be able to get that extra damage and heal, doing phenomenal work. And so Old School, you know, he's been playing a very efficient Adagio all season long here, and we saw it actually in live finals, playing very, very well, performing with a pretty good win rate. And so just to let him get Adagio, it's kind of a mixed bag. You either let him get Samuel or Adagio. You want him to play neither. So that's just something that you've got to be mindful of when you go into these drafts. And on the A side, they could have had the opportunity to take it away instead of going for the Finn. But this is what they've got right now. They're trying to make the best of it.
We see Status Bake coming from behind on Excelsior. He's going to burn him down very quickly with a death from above into a forward barrage. Now Mac Daddy is also in a lot of trouble. He's trying to take off through the jungle, but he's going to throw it on the Quibble, and he's going to fall. Enough for a double kill by Status Bake there. Lone Delphi, the only one standing. He's up in the lane, and he's just trying to stay alive. He throws down that active camo. He hits it on Wrecked, but Wrecked is building up a lot of defense now with that fountain. He's starting to get a little tankier, and it's not chunking him down as much as it did earlier in the game there. But Lone Delphi is going to try to hold this turret as well as he can with all 3 members of Phoenix burning down on him. But Excelsior is back now. That should help him a good
nice step from above and positioning. The forward barrage almost gets Lone Delphi very, very close to going down. Does not go down. And then you're gonna see Excelsior trying to put the hurt on. Does miss the impale, but nice one-shot, one-kill coming out from Lone Delphi.
Nice, that was fantastic. Right from the base, that was amazing. Onto Wreck there, doing a huge job, probably saving this turret at least for a while as Mac Dave is able to get back into position. But Old School putting on a lot of pressure, burning him down. He's got his alternating current now, so he can just keep firing off those shots one after another, really put the pressure on. Status Bake taking some serious damage from Lone Delphi, but so far doing a really good job of out-positioning here. We do see another exchange of missed force.
Yeah, dodges that real nice, moving on the other side of it, and this is a big problem with the Kestrel and the SAW comp. We've got a Finn. You would expect just a lot more pressure early game going up against, because you only got a support lance, right? It's not like a Status Bake carry lance that's going to really harass you a lot in the early game. Still able, nice impale. You see a pushback coming out, and look, Lone Delphi and Excelsior, they just go, Delphi, I'm sorry, they go down so quickly. Fountain up from Mac Daddy comes out, does save Delphi, but man, this has just completely been in favor of Team Phoenix this entire early game, and it doesn't look like they're going to be able to let up. Their comp is just going to play perfectly into the late game, too.
It is. We do see it. Oh, and there's a double kill. Well, going to 2 different players there, back-to-back on Lone Delphi and Mac Daddy, as they are continuing to push up here. As you just said, Phoenix looking really good right now. They're just playing down this position beautifully. Wrecked with that nice impale on Excelsior into a Githian wall that knocked Lone Delphi and Excelsior into the range of Status Baked. He brought down Excelsior really quick right after that. We see Wrecked landing a nice impale on Excelsior. He's going to make his way around the death from above, but it's not enough to escape the forward barrage, as Status Baked picks up another kill on Excelsior. That's 1 in 7. Mac Daddy gets the pull, into a quibble, but it is not enough damage. Lone Delphi gonna miss that one-shot, one kill. Status Fake returning now. He knows that their ults are down. Mac Daddy trying to do a little bit of tanky with the polite company. It's not enough. He falls. Lone Delphi, the only man under the turret right now, and the members of Phoenix are gonna back off and let Old School put some pressure on him. Really, really nice play from Phoenix.
Oh yeah, I know. You know, Status Fake doing a phenomenal job. He was in and out, took so much damage. He took a pull and 2 quibbles in that fight, and was still able to come out on top, even though brought nearly to low health, almost no health there both times. Those quibbles doing a lot of damage on him, and he doesn't have particularly a ton of defense right now, so he is absolutely very squishy. But you know what? He was able to reposition himself around that wall, get in, continue to auto attack, and now he's got his breaking point. He is going to be doing even more damage into these fights to see if he can keep sustaining and staying alive during those team fights. He's going to be completely able to roll over GankStars. This is just not looking good for GankStars. They've got no momentum. Their comp is not going to scale well into the late game, and Phoenix is, and you know, they've only got they've got a 5,000 gold lead, but just their way their composition is, there's just very unlikely they're going to have any issues continuing to scale into this late game as we get closer and closer to Kraken coming out.
It is looking kind of dismal for them, but I gotta say, Lone Delphi's had some real moments of brilliance in these fights. He's kind of had a bridesmaid, never the bride situation, where he gets very close to killing a member of Phoenix, but he kind of loses out in the trade in the end. I think if he could calm down, pick his shots a little clearer, you know, clear his head a little bit, I think he'd get the better of some of these exchanges.
Nice crucible.
So we do see another really nice engage by Team Phoenix going in onto GankStars there. Not a lot in response from GankStars, but Status Fake just brought rather low. Lone Delphi trying to get the angles. He active camos out of the side. The one-shot, one kill is going to miss. And GankStars looking to return a little bit of pressure as Status Fake is about a third health, it looks like. But Old School's going in. They're trying to bring down Mac Daddy. He unleashes the fountain and he falls right after that. Wrecked getting very low but not going down. Excelsior also very low. They got to back off underneath their turret. Now Phoenix looking to push onto turret number 2 once again. Status Fake, he has got his ult up if he wants. He lands a huge chunk of his forward barrage onto Lone Delphi, and he's got to back off behind the turret there. So Team Phoenix with another really nice, almost dying, but you know, responding with a nice counter attack. They know when to pick the moment to reapply the pressure, you know. That
was actually a really nice engage coming out of GankStars. They had a lot going on them. You saw nice suppressing fire land. You did see them. They actually were able to keep a good chunk of their health as they brought down Phoenix to pretty low health on both their heroes. But you know, the great support play coming out of Wrecked, he was able to keep them alive with a fountain, and then you did see them. Oh, there is a kill, one-shot, one kill onto Status Fake there.
He was in the jungle, or he was inside the bush. I didn't see if they had vision on him, but I don't think he did. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I believe Lone Delphi kind of shot that one blind.
Yeah, no scoping it, getting the kill. But they, you know, that engagement was going fairly well for GankStars. They just weren't able to fully commit to it. They had already blown the Force to Cord. It wasn't going to come back up again because it's, you know, because of the disparity in the leveling. You've got Mac Daddy, who's only level 8, so he doesn't have another point in that Force to Cord. So it's going to be a while till it's back up even now. And that's the issue, is they're doing actually fairly well. They were able to stay close to their turret, and they didn't take that much damage, and there was a lot of damage going on to Team Phoenix. But Team Phoenix did a great job just not overcommitting and not getting too aggressive, realizing that they were going to be brought really low. Although GankStars being able to trade a kill 1-for-1 at this point in the game, that's got to feel pretty good, especially on Status Fake. There's a lot of bounty in that gold, and you can see they're only down by 5,000 still, so they haven't lost. Oh, but well, after this team fight, we'll see.
Yeah, they collapse on Excelsior really hard there. Mac Daddy's falling right after that. I just don't think GankStars expected to have members of Team Phoenix on their side of the map. So when they kind of got Excelsior got pincered there, it was pretty brutal for them. Look at Wreck going in hard on Lone Delphi, but he stayed out of the range of that hail. They are going to pick up another gold miner there. So Lone Delphi missing a one-shot, one kill, probably for the gold miner, is a bit off. But Team Phoenix looking to put pressure onto turret number 2 here. Wrecked going in. There's the death from above. It looks like it just barely wings.
Oh, so much damage though.
Oh, it's huge out of Status Fake right now. I think he got up to a handful of stacks on his breaking point. That weapon power in the sky is looking really good.
No, this is where you're going to see Phoenix should be able to just completely collapse, continue pushing the lane. You do see, actually, you know, they gets the reflex block, but then you see Status Fake repositioning himself with a Surge Strike to go in there and get more damage. Does take a little bit of turret damage, almost goes down, but is able to get through that fight. Okay, they're still going to keep putting pressure on, and this is, I think, what Phoenix needs to do. It's a 2v3, now it's a 3v3, but they are just so much farther ahead that they can continue to apply a lot of pressure. Status Fake, again, almost going down. one more shot. It just, you know, again, they're just so close and able to come out of these fights by picking up these objectives and kills without going down. Oh, and you see Finn going down due to the creeps. That's just a miscue right there.
Oh no, yeah, I think he was just really finally stopped attacking him. And he let his guard down there. Lone Delphi going in hard, but he's going to pay for that as Phoenix gets the ace and they're pushing in on the base. Phoenix just looking so good right now.
Yeah, this is what GankStars does not need to do. They did not need to be aggressive. They do not need to go down to the jungle. They need to turtle. When they play behind their turret, they do fairly well. They're able to kind of manage the health, bring Phoenix really, really low, maybe have a shot at picking up a kill, but when they engage too far out, it was just super dangerous, risky, and Phoenix, you know, not playing too far away. They're not rotating to their side of the jungle at all. They're going completely to stay on GankStar side of the jungle, and you know, Lone Delphi, I'm sorry, to go down there and risk it. It's just such a bad call. Both times in a row, you know, to get caught out, it's not what they need to do. They just need to continue turtling. And now that they've lost their last lane turret, this is just Team Phoenix's game. They're going to be able to just sit here, take out the rest of the gold in the jungle, then go get Kraken and maybe close this game out.
I think you're right. I don't think there's much that GankStars can do right now, being, as you said, 10K down. They're just in a tough spot right here. You know, they're going to have to get a lucky grab, maybe pull somebody out. And if they can bring down Status Fake before he gets too many stacks, maybe they can do something here. But, you know, Phoenix is just really feeling it right now. And Excelsior has fallen way short on this Saw. It's just a tough matchup for him.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, losing that early game has not gone well. You see him going down there again, and it just looks like at this point, with Lone Delphi kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, he's going to have to get out of there. He's not going to be able to. He has just been completely collapsed upon by Team Phoenix. They're going to go and rotate. Oh, nice pull, but this is probably not what Mac Daddy wanted. This is just going to save them time, as they're going to be able to continue pushing, pick up the ace, and then just close this game out. I don't know what maybe Mac Daddy just wanted to end this faster, pulling them closer, speeding up that move over, and this is going to be game.
Yeah, it is. Team Phoenix really cleaning up fantastically in these last 10 minutes here. The opening match, there was a little bit of a nice rhythm going on for both teams, but GankStars just kind of lost their footing really early in this, so they're going to have to do a lot to change it up. I wouldn't take Lone Delphi off that Kestrel, though. I think he's still feeling that. You know, until things really got grim for them at the end of that matchup, I think he had a chance of being able to carry this in the jungle.
Yeah, he was keeping the CS a little bit close. It was really just the lane. He had to rotate up a lot, so he ended up missing out a lot on gold. They had to put so much pressure just to keep that Saw healthy in the lane, and his CS still fell behind. And you know, you're going up against an Adagio, specifically old school's Adagio. He is going to outfarm you if you let him, and wow. Excelsior just not able to do absolutely anything. You know, 126 with a Saw going up into Adagio. I mean, you know, again, you expect that kind of harass coming out of an Adagio, but you've got to find a way to make that push comp work, and I just think that Phoenix outdrafted them. They were able to get a very aggressive comp. You know, you've got the Finn, you got the Lance and the Sky, and they can kind of come up very quickly, rotate up, get those ganks, or at least prevent ganks from happening from GankStars. And you know, you see, you know, Rek going with pretty standard support build there. He's got very, very tanky, a lot of defense, but by the end of the game, they were just so far ahead. They were so far out farming GankStars that there just was very little they could do into late game. And I think a lot of it came, you know, GankStars had an opportunity to slow down that game and turtle, and it just seemed like they wanted to be a little bit more aggressive, but they weren't doing it as a unit, and therefore they were able to kind of get picked off one by one in the jungle, even into the late game.
Yeah, they just seemed a little bit scattered. You know, I think at one point I was kind of, you know, thinking if they could bring that back together, you know, it would just it would give them more hope going into it. But they still seemed like they just couldn't time their moments correctly. And I think you said it very clearly. Not too much I can add. But going into game number 2 here, with I believe Phoenix able to pick first. Tough spot, because if Phoenix bans out that Myra, you know, GankStars, they feel like they probably have to ban out Samuel, because we talked about this. He's so strong right now, but then Adagio once again becomes a huge factor into, you know, if Phoenix is going to pick that up first. So I think we're going to see soon. You know, Dragon, I don't know if we're going to go into a break here, but we're moving into game number 2.
Yeah, we're getting ready for game number 2 in just a moment. We are going to take a quick break as we get everybody in and get ready. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this message.
Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.
And we are back. Game number 2 between Team Phoenix and GankStars. GankStars in a really tough spot tonight. I don't know, what they're going to be able to do to bring this back as far as this Pro League goes back against Phoenix. They're down 1. They've lost another point here. Team Phoenix banning out that Lyra, so they're really putting them in a tough spot there. It looks like they might be banning out the Adagio or the Samuel, as I mentioned, which is a really solid choice.
Yeah, absolutely. You see this kind of a standard ban and draft, the Lyra and the Samuel. Lyra's still a very strong support, just because she really counters so many of those aggressive comps that you see. You see the Skies, the Takas, they can't engage like they will once you've got that bulwark up. So, Lyra, a great kind of flex pick too, because she still has a little bit of crystal power where you will see old school lane her sometimes. But basically what Phoenix is saying is we don't want to see her as a support, because it's going to go against what we want to play, which is typically going to be aggressive. You see Adagio though, and this is what I think GankStars should have done in the first place, is pick up that Adagio and keep that. If you're going to ban the Samuel, take the Adagio away too.
Well, yeah, Phoenix prioritized that Finn pick, so they kind of have possibly a different plan going on, or they're just putting it out there to see if GankStars wanted the Adagio. But yeah, old school probably going to be pretty comfortable on the Celeste they just picked, but so we're going to see how they're going to round this out. There is the Kestrel, probably a status baked in the jungle, so that leaves what is Lone Delphi going to do?
Yeah, and this is, I think, a much better draft for Phoenix playing on the A side. The way they fact that they picked, instead of a Saw, they picked up a Celeste. I think a Celeste is a much better pick. She's able to zone around, especially into the late game. She's going to scale better than the Saw will. And I think that, if you're going into against a Phoenix team here, you don't want to have a comp that's just so kind of set into that early game, because you run the risk of, if you don't win it, you lose it, and that's just not where you want to be at all. So really,
if you don't win it, you lose it.
Yeah, you lose it. And so you want to have that flexibility. You want to be able to work for that late game, because anything could happen, and you don't want to just put all your eggs in one basket like GankStars did in that first game with the Saw pick. So definitely something that I think they did better. They went with basically the same comp that we saw Phoenix play, and it's a great matchup. It's really, really strong. This Kestrel, the Adagio, Lance and Sky comp is it's going to be able to be very very strong, put a little bit of early engage as well as scaling well into the late game. So I think that GankStars, if they can play it as well as Phoenix did, they have a good shot at winning this game.
You're absolutely right. It's a solid comp. It can do a lot of different things, and it's very effective early game, which is huge. So they're going to see if they can apply the pressure in the same way I expect. Meanwhile, we'll see how Status Baked and Wrecked hold up in the jungle on this Finn and Kestrel, and of course Old School on that tier 3 Dark Queen Celeste up against Adagio in the lane.
Yeah, and Old School is really good at Celeste. He's playing into his comfort picks right now, and it's just something when you're going up against such a skilled team, it's just hard to keep them off their comfort picks because they're so good with so many. You do see nice rotation up to the top by Phoenix, kind of go in there, make sure that there is no gank. With the Sky, you could potentially see that with the Impale coming out of the Lance as well. Nice forward barrage coming to Lone Delphi. Lone Delphi is known for being a really good Kestrel and Sky player, so this is really, I think, a good comp so far. I think they've got a lot of potential to kind of equalize this early game here going into against Phoenix.
Yeah, this will be a good spot for them. I think we're going to see a different momentum overall. We do see GankStars using that early game pressure to apply it heavily. Look, there's a big impale by Mac Daddy, but he's underneath turret fire, and he's got to back up, just dodging that quibble from Wrecked, but getting some solid damage on the Old School. He's teasing that port back, trying to bait Excelsior into the range of the turret.
Yeah, you know, just trying to keep him super close, prevent Old School from going back and farming. I don't think Old School is really motivated to go back. He's only sitting on 1100, which is high, but definitely not to the point where he's that concerned. He's going to want to finish farming his lane and keep making sure that... Oh, you do see Mist Impale coming out of Mac Daddy, and Mac Daddy's going to take a lot of damage for that. He does not go down. He gets out safely, but, you know, now you've got all three up here, and Phoenix has just got to keep GankStars at bay. But yeah, you're looking at GankStars, they've definitely got that lane pushed up, playing a lot more aggressive this game.
Yeah, and if you saw real quick there, they're doing a nice job of timing the glimmer shots from Kestrel. He's played a lot of Kestrel, so he knows how those are fired off. And when Status took a glimmer shot at him, he was laying down his forward barrage. He dipped to the, he kind of juked to the side real quick, and then right back in to reapply damage. So a real nice, you know, kind of sidestep dodge there. So hopefully that kind of knowledge of Kestrel will play into the rest of this game here and give him a bit of a leg up if he can get it. So GankStars looking to put some damage in on the first turret here, but Phoenix coming back to defend it. So just about a third of its health, a little bit more than a third of its health down.
Yeah, Excelsior and this Adagio doing a great job putting that pressure, pushing the lane, and as soon as you had to see a port back coming out from Old School, they were able to kind of push up that lane, do a lot of damage on the turret, and that's, they got to keep playing that play style. They got to keep being aggressive so they can continue to push, because this late game is going to be pretty even between the two, but if Phoenix can play really close, like they're known for playing super tight into the late game, rotating together as a unit the entire time, probably after the 5 or 6 minute mark, they're going to want to engage these team fights and be very aggressive and take over the lead, kind of let this game kind of go into their play style and ballpark and kind of take the game over at that point. And so you got to see GankStars, they got to keep pushing this lane and prevent that. And they can by being super aggressive in the lane, pushing on and trying to get that first turret down as quickly as possible. Kind of the playstyle I think they were going with the Saw, but I think it's just plays so much easily with the Adagio.
Yeah, well said. I think that's exactly what we're seeing here. They're just kind of implementing the same game plan, and they're just succeeding more this time around. So we see Mac Daddy, he's, you know, he missed a couple of impales there. He's looking for that solid gank. There's a nice impale onto Old School, but Excelsior not close enough to really capitalize on that. So Status Bakes is going to come back up. We've got an old-fashioned 3-man standoff as both teams are up here in the lane exchanging fire. Nothing really happened. Oh, there's a lot of damage going in onto Lone Delphi there, and the response by Mac Daddy, the impale onto the members of Phoenix, is going to cost him his life if he's able to be brought down by the glimmer shots of Status Baked.
First blood! Yeah, it goes right onto Mac Daddy. Support does go down. Not the worst situation you want to be, but the aggression coming out of Phoenix, they still want to keep pushing. Excelsior does go down, and Lone Delphi, he was going to rotate down. Now he has to come back up and protect the lane. He doesn't want to be pushed down because this comp could definitely take out their turret very quickly, even though the def timers are still very short. You know, very smart play by Delphi. Kind of a good heads-up play to say, hey, I don't want this turret to get pushed on, kind of forcing Phoenix to rotate back down. They do lose some of their side of the jungle, but GankStars honestly can feel pretty good. Those two defs, or that def in that last team fight, they didn't lose a whole lot.
No. It could have gone a lot worse for them. Gold is still even. So it's not like they gave up much of a lead on that kind of mess up there. So, you know, still anybody's game as Excelsior's, you know, he's got his way back to the lane. We're kind of reset to where we were right before that scuffle happened. Both teams just kind of babysitting and pushing there in the lane while the junglers do their jungling. So I'm liking, you know, the positioning. There's another good impale by Mac Daddy. Finally got that out. But every time he does, you know, Rex is right there to try and respond with the quibble. So Mac Daddy's got to hit it and move, which is making it hard to really capitalize on anything he's doing.
Right. Interestingly, you see Lone Delphi does start to build a little bit tanky. Oh, still goes down, taking so much damage as Status Bake's got that weapon damage plus a crystal bit. So he's going to be doing a lot of burst with his glimmer shots there, trying to get that damage. You see him being able to put a lot on. One shot, one kill does miss, barely. Almost scathing Excelsior, but does go a little bit to the left there, so it's not going to pick up the kill. Mac Daddy now, he's going to have to try to dodge around these Heliogenesises as you see Old School starting to scale as he picks up more crystal power. He's going to get really bursty with those stars, man. He's going to be able to do a lot of damage, and that's kind of where, if you're GankStars, you just got to be careful as you get closer to this late game. The Adagio should be able, and with the Sky, should be able to kind of maneuver nicely into these team fights if they play it correctly, but, all the burst damage coming out of Stasbake, that's a lot.
Oh, Oh, that was yeah. That about covers it.
That's just a lot.
He just wiped out Excelsior. Lone Delphi now caught big time taking damage from these limber shots. He's going to fall also as Old School helps to pick up the ace there. At almost 7 minutes into the game, they're going to get a gold miner out of this, and they're going to push lane as well, possibly take down this first turret. I think they've got a good chance of being able to put some serious damage on it at least if they want. But it looks like they're happy to farm out the jungle and make life a little bit more difficult for GankStars.
Yeah, picking up that gold mine now. You're going to see Phoenix. This is kind of their play style. Right when they get to this late of the mid-game time, right before the late game, they start to try to put their foot on the pedal, trying to accelerate and start to snowball if they can. And they've got this poke comp that's going up against Adagio and Sky, which are typically fairly squishy. Not known to, I mean, you got the sustain from Adagio, but Sky, if he gets caught out, he can go down fast, as you're seeing that right now. But Stasbake, he goes down. This is one kill finally going over to GankStars, and they want to continue putting up the pressure.
Yeah, we see Lone Delphi trying to finish off Wrecked here. Yeah, Statusbake just went a little too far in on Lone Delphi. Took a ton of damage. I don't blame Statusbake for going for it because Lone Delphi got caught out again and just took chunks and chunks of damage from those glimmer shots there. But 2 kills going over to GankStars. They're still looking to chase down Old School as he's farming out the rest of the jungle, trying to deny them any more success from these already 2 kills that they were able to pick up.
Yeah, and those 2 kills, I mean, they've already been keeping the gold fairly close. They're only down by 900 gold. GankStars can get back into this, and Adagio, he is going to scale pretty well into late game. Kind of like, scaling with, he does get bursted down, though.
Huge. Statusbake just active camo into the situation, and Excelsior didn't even know he was there. We see the return fire from Lone Delphi. It's not going to be enough to bring down Statusbake. Meanwhile, Rex coming in to run interference. The turret is looking pretty low, so Team Phoenix could go for a really nice first turret grab here if they want to.
They won, but you do see Statusbake's really low. He's got to be careful. He doesn't want to go down, make that a 2v2, which GankStars could easily turn around. So nice disengage coming out of Team Phoenix as they try to make sure they kind of keep this game under control here. MacDaddy juking out Old School, trying to avoid those stars. Heliogenesis is starting to scale as you do see that piercing being built on Old School here, but he's got double energy battery. Interesting decision, Old School, definitely prioritizing that energy. Nice force of core, bringing in Excelsior. He is going to go, he does go down.
Yeah, that was a huge force to core by Wreck there, just pulling him into the danger zone. He went down pretty quickly. Meanwhile, Lone Delphi once again under a lot of fire, just barely escaping out a little bit, trying to finish off Statusbake with that forward barrage.
Oh, the Fountain keeps him alive.
Well. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's huge. Old School finishing off MacDaddy, and now Lone Delphi. He's only stuck in the jungle by himself. His turret just fell. The one-shot, 1 kill's gonna miss. Can he get enough damage? No. He falls as Old School and Wrecked are able to close in on him with a nice quibble into a Helio.
Yeah, I mean, just super great positioning by Lone Delphi. He was able to definitely out-juke them for a long time, preventing the ace, which is great. I mean, that was a really bad fight, really bad situation. To be able to prevent the ace there is definitely a silver lining to that devastating fight. You didn't want to have to go down that way, but able to prevent that ace. They're going to be able to keep this game a little bit close. We're only looking at a 3,000 gold lead, which is, really starting to play into Phoenix's hand. They want to start taking over this game before they get into the late game when Kraken comes up. And so far, it looks like they have a good shot at doing that with 1 turret down already in favor. Force Accord pulls nothing. Excelsior still sitting in the shop. I think just a miscue there by Wrecked. Not able to pull that in. And now, of course, you see Lone Delphi. He's caught out, but Phoenix isn't going to engage on there. So I don't know if that was, if they knew how far he was, or if they were just out of range there. So now we got a 3v3 Berman.
We see the Impale engaged by MacDaddy there, but it was a little premature because Lone Delphi was way too far to the side. Statusbake firing off a shot, not really going to catch anybody. Team Phoenix kind of looking for that first chunk of damage that they can capitalize on and move in. Probably pull Excelsior again if they can, but they still got 20 seconds for that. There's the boots to rush in on Lone Delphi. They've cut him off from the herd. He lays down a forward barrage. It's going to be not enough as MacDaddy goes in hard on Old School, but Excelsior not able to return enough damage to make it worth his while. Now MacDaddy is trying to escape.
Oh, but it leads him into Lone Delphi, who gets deleted.
Oh no, Boston. Excelsior able to make Wrecked run away. Is MacDaddy has also dipped off into the jungle to escape there. There's a forced accord pulling in Excelsior, followed up with a quibble and a lot of damage.
He hesitated. He almost went the other way, which he should have done as a classic juke if you want to prevent that quibble after the forced accord to kind of go into the Finn. Instead, he thinks about it, decides to go the other way, then changes his mind, ends up getting caught by the quibble anyways. Takes all that damage plus the stun. Not what you wanted to have happen. He might have been able to stutter step, maybe even taking down at least Wreck before falling. Isn't able to. That's a gold mine to Team Phoenix.
Yeah, there was a couple of mistakes there that were really just detrimental to that fight going so south for GankStars. Just kind of, I don't, Mac Daddy pulling them into Lone Delphi. Maybe Lone Delphi was confident that he could lay down enough damage to make something happen there. Kind of a bold choice, if so, you know?
Yeah, but, you know, the level disparity right now is just absolutely huge. You got a 9, 10, and 8 going into Phoenix is 11, 9, and 12, and Old School being 12 probably in a few minutes. I don't think you should be fighting right now if you are GankStars. You know, you have a shot to get into the late game. You just got to hang in there. They do pick up a kill, though, onto Statsbake. That's not what you want to be if you're Phoenix. With such a high level disparity, you'd think this would be very close, but no, instead, this is going in favor of GankStars.
They're looking to capitalize on that, but Mac Daddy's going to fall as Old School gets comfortable with that. He lands a nice helo on Excelsior. Excelsior trying to juke his way out of it. Picking up a little bit of healing. Here comes the damage. Oh, and it's a double. Oh, and the ace for Old School.
Yeah, no, as soon as Old School got in range, I was going to go in favor of Old School. He's got the sustain. He's got that reflex block, too, if he needs the last bit of life. But, you know, with that Eve of Harvest, as well as the Broken Myth, you saw him stacking those Broken Myth stacks. And Adagio just wasn't able to get the damage, and he was kind of running away at that point, too. And he just, yeah, it was just, as soon as he took one of those Heliogenesises, and you saw that health bar just drop, it was just GG for him. He went down with nothing to say.
Oh yeah, this Celeste here with 7-0 right now. You know, Old School looking at a flawless evening if he can finish out this match. We see Mac Daddy going in hard on Statusbake, which is a little preemptive because Lone Delphi's not even there yet. But Phoenix looking for the counter attack. They are now got GankStars on the run. There's a Solar Storm. He's not going to do too much damage. Lone Delphi's Surrey strikes to the other side, and he gets beaten down. GankStars looking to escape back into the safety of their base, but how safe is it for so long? I don't think very much. Mac Daddy making a big show of putting up that Githian wall right up there at the base, daring them to come in, and I think they will.
Yeah, see, and GankStars should have been playing by their turret 4 minutes ago. They did not need to be fighting. They were just too far back. They got some lucky team fights where they were able to pick up a kill, but those fights ended up going in favor of Phoenix anyways, just because they're just that far ahead in levels, and they were able to, you know, deal more damage against GankStars, even if they did get caught out a little bit or had some misplays or bad positioning or didn't quite land their skill shots. They were still able to win those fights, and that's just, you know, your GankStars. You just gotta be patient. They've got the weapon Sky, they've got a Crystal Adagio. They can be patient. They can afford to be a little bit patient. Pull though, and you are gonna see Lone Delphi does go down.
Yeah, pretty easily for Team Phoenix there to capitalize on that, pulling in with the Force Accord, and his day just ends. Excelsior getting closed on as he tries to make his way back to base. He is going to barely escape, but not Mac Daddy B. He's going to fall, and now Team Phoenix is knocking down on those final 2 turrets at about 15 minutes into the game here. Excelsior doing a one-man defense.
Yeah, they just refuse the turtle when they finally do. It's just too late because, you know, you've got Wreck now with 2 ticks on that Forced Accord. It's going to be up a little bit more. Doing a lot of pain, and you see GankStars feeling that pain. This Phoenix is going to rotate here, pick up the rest of the enemy jungle, and Kraken's up. This could be a point where Phoenix says, you know what, let's just take this Kraken, close out this game while we have this lead. You don't want to let GankStars get any momentum. You know, you don't want to give a kill, maybe even an ace, and let them start, because if they could even out this gold lead, they've got a good shot getting back into this game. But again, you see GankStars, they're going really far out here. They're going to get caught out.
They are just kind of fearless right now. They're getting a lot of damage on this one, but I don't think it's going to be enough for the rest of Phoenix moves in. Lone Delphi going for that side attack, and it's not going to be enough as he is now in a lot of trouble there. We see Mac Daddy's able to bring down Old School, but Statusbake returning the kill onto Lone Delphi. Now Excelsior looking to capitalize on this, see if he can get enough damage in on Statusbake. He's on the back line. He's burning down. That one shot, one kill goes in. Mac Daddy soaks up the damage, and they get the double kill. And ace.
Oh my goodness, I couldn't believe it. Like, you expected this team fight to go in favor of Phoenix. They had the power, they have the items, they're out leveling them, and now that is a huge team fight. You got GankStars, they're going to be able to tap on this door, take out this turret, maybe even two. Although you're going to see Old School coming back up here on the Celeste, so they got to be careful. But this is completely swinging the gold in their favor. And listen, every team fight, it's been close with Phoenix just getting out just by an edge, which you kind of have to assume is their items being a little bit farther ahead. If they let this get any closer, and if GankStars can get more gold, they might be able to start turning these team fights completely in their favor, and that is going to spell disaster for Phoenix. You know, this Adagio is going to continue to scale. You see him building really tanky, but if he gets one more, you just see it now. There's a Shatter Glass going on Excelsior, and he's going to be dealing a heck of a lot of damage into this next team fight. If he can position correctly and they don't get caught out, this next fight could be GankStars.
Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely. GankStars closed the gold lead by almost 5,000 in that exchange there. That was huge for them. And they are now in a great position. They've got the momentum. They've got that energy. You know, this is their first shining moment of the night. They're going in to try and get the Kraken steal. Are they going to get it?
Oh,
no.
they don't. So close.
There's the Silver Storm. Low down. He does have the status big. Wrecked in the center of the members of GankStars. He is throwing down that light company. The Kraken is going to start heading up to lane. But Excelsior is going to fall to Old School. Old School looking to pick up Mac Daddy B as well.
Old School, he's just doing so much damage.
Get it. Lone Delphi got wrecked. Old School got Mac Daddy B. The jungle that carries Old School gets the ace, and it's him and the Kraken to close out this game.
Oh, that's going to be GG. That reflex block, so handy. Perfect timing. He was just so patient waiting for it. Didn't need it because it's just, other than the death from above, well, okay, there is a lot of CC, but you just didn't see it being able to catch Old School on the backside. He was actually able to dodge a lot of it, and you didn't see the Verse of Judgment. So, you know, ultimately, Old School able to keep that reflex block saved. He's going to be able to start putting damage on this crystal. And can Excelsior do it? Oh, he does take him out.
He does, and Kraken is now beaten down on the crystal, but it looks like GankStars have enough damage to be able to tear him out. Excuse me, it's a lady.
Oh yeah, but this actually, I'm gonna be honest, this, without being able to take out this Vein Crystal, this is actually really bad for Phoenix. We've been seeing the gold lead slowly coming back, and the discrepancy between the two teams dwindling, and actually Adagio just, you know, he's pretty much max build now. Maybe one more boot or defensive item and he'd be max build, but he is gonna be doing a heck lot. He's gonna be hitting you like a truck there with those auto attacks. And so if you're Phoenix, you've got to be very careful. GankStars has been dealing so much damage. The fights have been almost basically even at this point, well, favoring GankStars a few of those times, and that was when they were actually down in levels. Now they're even. Everyone's 12. I would actually say the itemization's about even here, with a slight edge favoring Phoenix. But look at the, I don't know what Stasbake's doing. He's got a ton of health there. 3 Shiver Steals?
Wow. Yeah, that is a lot of health on your Kestrel. So let's see Mac Daddy going in with that impale onto the members of Team Phoenix. Lone Delphi by Suri strikes into the center of the fight. Now Status makes the damage from 2 angles. He's going to fall to Lone Delphi. They're trying to bring down Rebecca, but Old School is going to start building up those stacks onto Mac Daddy B. Wreck does fall, and now Old School is in a tough spot. He's on the last man standing. GankStars closed in on him. They do pick up the kill and the ace.
Yep, this is it, man. This is GankStars. They were just waiting for this late game. I was questioning why they weren't being a little bit more conservative earlier. They could have prevented a lot of hurt, maybe even had a couple of turrets standing. So they're not going to be able to close out the game just yet, but Kraken's going to be respawning really soon. They're going to take out this last lane turret, maybe one of the crystal turrets. It actually, and they could maybe make a rush for it and try to take all 2 turrets, but you are going to see Phoenix coming on the respawning, coming up. You see, here comes Status Bake. He does sell one of those Shiver Steals and buys a reflex block. I don't know if that was like a misclick there to pick that up. That was a very questionable decision from itemization coming out of Stasbake. Maybe he thought the game was over and was just buying the wrong items there. But now he's going to have to rethink that, kind of start picking up the items he needs to win this next team fight. Because if they don't win this next fight, this will be GankStars' game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. GankStars, they're right behind the momentum here. They're getting a lot of damage onto Team Phoenix. They just kind of face check that push there. The missed forced forward by Wrecked.
Oh, Old School! He was dealing the most damage for them. This is super bad. GankStars is going to be able to take the Kraken off this. No way that Stasbake's going to want to stick around here. He is going to pour back. Honestly, GankStars, yeah, they're just going to go right for the turret. There's just one turret left. They can definitely rush this.
Oh, yeah. With just Status Baked. The active camo picks up nobody, and GankStars is able to jump into the base with only one turret. As you mentioned, there's Status Baked. He's up by his base trying to fire off a couple of shots, but GankStars is just going to zone him out and focus damage on getting this win here.
Absolutely, and this is game. GankStars coming back. They just had to be patient, and they ended up winning those last team fights, even with the level discrepancy and basically being behind in everything. Gold items, they were able to start pulling these team fights out, inching out these fights until they were able to finally win one. And even with that Kraken banging on the door and taking out all their crystals, GankStars with the victory. Wow, GG.
Yeah, now, Dragon, correct me if I'm wrong here, but with 4 points in the VISPRO, is this GankStars' last game of the season?
This is. They needed, as soon as they actually lost that first game, they are not able to get that 5 points. So it's now...
But you know what?
Yeah, it's basically...
Yeah, well, it was a great game for them to go out on. Exciting, huge comeback, 10,000 gold discrepancy. Yeah, I mean, hands down to Excelsior coming in nice and strong on that Adagio, playing with a team that he probably doesn't get a chance to have a lot of competitive synergy with. So I like to see these guys play. Looking forward to them coming back next season for some more VISPRO. And it was fun. It was a great win for them up against one of the top teams.
Yeah, absolutely. They're showing Team Phoenix that they want to be able to compete here going into next season. And it was a really close call. Those fights, even though Phoenix was up by so much gold, they continued to perform well. They were not going down completely all at once. They were able to hold their own. They were able to take out at least one of Team Phoenix's members and able to close that gap lead with the gold bounties and slowly creep back into there. I think they could have done it a lot sooner. I think they could have played a little bit more conservative instead of being so aggressive and then pick their team fights. But it just turned out they were able to get the right fights, position great. Lone Delphi with the phenomenal positioning, staying alive and able to outmaneuver old school's Heliogenesis with his series strikes, doing a great job.
Yeah, the way Lone Delphi moved into the center of the team fight and often cut off Status Baked from Old School was big in a lot of those last few team fights there. When Status Baked was all alone and he fell down, he fell very quickly. Old School was in a tough spot because Celeste doesn't run away very easily. She's got to kind of stay on the back line and deal some damage. So GankStars' positioning was huge in that.
Yeah, it really was, and so GG to GankStars. They do tie it 1 apiece. So going into this matchup, I would say that everyone probably thought Phoenix would probably 2-0 it, but GankStars with the surprise victory, splitting that series. Unfortunately, it does end their season. Phoenix, of course, had already qualified last week, but GankStars will not be making it to the championship week that's taking place next week. But we are going to be getting into our next matchup in just a few moments as we prepare. And this is going to be Ardent versus Team Solo Mid. And this matchup also has pretty big implications because if Ardent can 2-0 Team Solo Mid, they can actually knock Team Solo Mid out of the running. Team Solo Mid has not qualified yet. They've got to win one game tonight in order to qualify for the championship week. And after their super strong performance in VG Live Finals this past weekend, they are looking like they're going to be able to probably close this out and get into championship week without a problem. What do you think, Behrman?
I think it's a good assumption. Yeah. TSM has got a lot of momentum right now, and we saw them playing phenomenally. So they also fought against Ardent in that live championship. They beat them. So you know, Ardent's got a lot going on their plate right now. Also, Ardent could be putting forth, for that matter, could be forth a variety of team members tonight. But Ardent's got a lot of talent, a lot of raw talent that hasn't had a chance in the competitive scene to develop those specific skills that you need for competitive play as much. So I think Ardent's got a lot to offer here, and they could give them a real good run.
Absolutely. I totally agree. We are going to be taking a quick break as we get ready for the next matchup. We will be back in just a few moments, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this break.
Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.
Just you?
Yep, and we are live coming back here, getting ready for the next matchup. It is going to be between Team Solo Mid and Ardent, and there is a lot on the line. Team Ardent Ardent Gaming that is, could pull an upset and actually steal away this playoff spot from Team Solo Mid. But before we get to that, we've got the winner of the second game here with us, Lone Delphi from GankStars, joining us for a quick player interview. Delphi, how's it going?
It's great. How you doing?
Doing okay, and let me just get your volume turned up just a little bit here. You know, you guys came into Team Phoenix, a team that has definitely been pretty dominant in the VISPRO circuit, as well as Evil 8. And, you know, a lot of people not expecting you. You guys have done this a couple times in VISPRO. You've split games with teams that nobody expected you to win a game against. So, how'd you guys feel about going into these matchups? Any preparation you guys did?
Yeah, we just practiced. We've been playing with Zelciar for only like a week, so our synergy isn't really there, like at all. But we knew if we got the right picks, we could do at least something.
So game one, you guys banned out the Samuel, and I think the Samuel was banned out by Phoenix, and the Lyra got banned out, and then they pick up the Adagio, and that comp, Adagio, Sky, Lance, my apologies, definitely wrecked you guys. That was really, really strong. Second game, you guys pick up the same comp.
Yeah, we just decided our draft was pretty bad the first game, so we just decided to do what they did, and it worked out.
Now, when you picked up that song the first game, was that something that you guys were planning for, or was that kind of like maybe a surprise pick or a quick pick?
It wasn't really a surprise pick. Zelciar is very known for his Saw, kind of like Pon the original. He's been playing. He probably has like 1,000 games on Saw, and we thought it would do well just because he's so good at it. But our early game was really bad, and it wasn't the greatest into the specific comp we ran it into.
Yeah, first game going to Team Phoenix, but the second game, you guys were down by a lot of gold. I mean, but it seemed like with your composition, the Weapon Sky and the Crystal Adagio, that you just need to get to late game. And for a while there, it looked like you were going to struggle to get there. What did you guys do differently as you kind of started to play on your heels to kind of get you guys back into that game?
Well, a lot of the team fights in the mid game, we really were communicating pretty poorly. So that's why we ended up losing a lot of them. Like, I was going to the other side trying to like escape, and then my team was engaging, and it was like just really bad communication. But then towards the late game, we like had a solid plan figured out, and we just executed, and it worked out.
Yeah, even in some of those late mid game fights, you guys you're losing, but you were still very, very close. You know, it just seemed like even with the level disparity, you guys were able to usually get a kill or deal some quite a bit of damage. That had to be kind of something you noticed. Did you notice that, like, kind of playing that you're like, wow, we're so far behind, we're still able to deal a lot of damage?
Yeah, we noticed towards the end, it was just like our composition was like so much stronger than theirs, and we eventually started getting really good CC chains onto their carries, which really helped us come back.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys do pick up the win. Congratulations on that victory. And I mean, we all can say here that we're looking forward to seeing you guys play next season with this roster. It's going to be very exciting.
All right. Thanks.
Hey, no problem,
Bye.
Delphi. And with that, we are going to get ready for our next matchup. Take a quick look at the standings, though. As we were alluding to before, Brehrman, that with that victory, that one victory by Phoenix, then splitting with GankStars, it does, of course, mean that GankStars will end the season with 4 points. That's just not enough to make it a championship week, with TSM sitting there with 5 points.
Yeah. As I said before, you know, great run for GankStars. They had some really nice games here, and they've got a lot of momentum going into next season. GankStars kind of in a retooling position as far as their competitive side of their guild goes right now. So they've got a lot of talent, and they just need to give these guys a chance to, build up some experience. And that takes time. You can't do that all in one season. So I think they have a lot going for them going into fall season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of people are keeping an eye on GankStars. They've kind of fallen a little bit away from that dominance they used to have in the first the first couple seasons of competitive Vainglory. So dominant. They've definitely struggled to find their footing here, and it just seems like they just need that one or two key players to kind of come in here and put them on their back and carry this organization. They, again, a great organization, GankStars, does so much for the community, and so we're definitely looking forward to seeing how this all plays out next season. As we get ready here. We do have a few more minutes as we get prepared for this next matchup, as we're still waiting for the players to get into the queue here, ready for the first draft. But as we look at this matchup, Team Solo Mid versus Team Ardent. Ardent Gaming, they were in in the live finals, and they performed fairly well here. When we take a look at this matchup here, we all know Team Solo Mid dominated in this last update in the live finals. Absolutely dominated. We would say that maybe they don't have a shot, but Ardent was able to actually play fairly effectively against TSM in a few of those games, and did pick up a win against Phoenix Reborn here. So out of the bottom two teams from past live finals, I would say Ardent Gaming has some real potential. They've been able to surprise players and kind of eke out some victories when nobody thought they could.
Yeah, I'm going to repeat myself too much if I try to go into what they're doing, because I think they're in a very similar situation to GankStars right now. A lot of raw talent, needs a little bit more experience, but there's a lot going on here. So Ardent, yeah, as you mentioned, not the greatest showing for them, but it was a live final showing, and they had some, as you mentioned, great moments. So they can really put it together, and I think they're going to give TSM a run tonight. Ardent definitely learned a lot coming off that live finals.
Yeah, and the roster they had during live finals with Sibs, Yazura, and Polly, all of which had very, very little live final experience. And there's just a lot to be said about being on the stage for the first time. It's one thing to be at home, playing on your bed, laying down, very comfortable and relaxed, to then be thrusted out in front of people with cameras on you, with lights on you, with headphones that actually create a lot of static noise so that you can't hear the audience. It can be very, very intense, and it can be somewhat intimidating. And so Ardent, with all of that in mind, with all of that pressure and all of that new experience to perform as they did, is actually very encouraging for the organization. And one thing that they've got going for them is correct me if I'm wrong, Brewerman, but they do have an addition with Lightning T in this roster. Is that still standing?
Last I knew, Lightning T was still on the roster. Yes.
Yeah. So Yazuru with Sibs and Polly were the roster going into the live championships, but Lightning T, huge pickup coming off of Necrolite from last season, and going into next season, I mean, this could be a much stronger roster.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they could really be putting something together here. They've got a lot of options to put forth a three-man team. It's just going to be a matter of what works best, and retooling things to see where the best fits are.
Exactly. So, as we get ready for this matchup here, waiting a little bit longer for the players to get on. We do got some of the players from Team Solo Mid and Ardent, so just one or two stragglers. Hopefully they get on here pretty soon as we get ready for this first game. So, here's basically how it works. Ardent Gaming is playing Team Solo Mid for the first time this season, and they are down 2 points. There's 2 points on the table here for tonight, which means if Ardent Gaming miraculously, and I would say miraculously because it is definitely going to be an uphill fight for them, is able to pull out 2 victories to 0 against Team Solo Mid, they will one, tie with total points and have the tiebreaker, therefore kicking Team Solo Mid completely out of the tournament. They're not going to be able to qualify the championship week, and that would be a huge blow, and it's something that, if Lightning T is playing tonight, is possible.
Yeah, that would be great for them going into the end of this Viz League season, going towards the autumn season. I mean, that'll be huge, take down the champions in a competitive matchup. So Ardent Gaming, who knows what they could be to be bringing out here. There is so much footage on TSM right now, and TSM had to pull out a lot of stops, no doubt. A lot of their bag of tricks that they've been working on, those go towards finals. So, I think even Jungle Finn, for that matter, But I think, Ardent Gaming, it's just a matter of how they use the tools they have.
Absolutely. They've basically been able to slowly build this roster together all season long, and they've improved and continued to improve. And, they hit a little bit of a rough spot. They had been, when they were acquired by Ardent, from being sweet and sour, they kind of struggled to perform, but they were able to stay in the Evil Eight. They were able to fend off the Challenger Series, and they actually had a pretty tough matchup. They had to go up against GankStars, and, a lot of people predicted GankStars was going to kick them out, get in there. They weren't playing very well, but they showed up big when they had to and were able to get in, and I honestly performed fairly well in the live championships, able to have some games where they put together some great fights and were able to surprise, again, pulling off a win from Reborn, and Reborn almost beating Rain and almost making it to semis. So, a lot of close competition. When you look at that bottom four in live championship, definitely some very, very close competition. And when we see as they continue to build this roster, I think you can be very confident, if you're an Ardent fan, that they're going to slowly start to become a threat to a lot of these organizations.
Sure. Very well said. Yeah. Meanwhile, we got to look at the things that TSM have been changing up lately with, the way Flash has been playing, and Best Chuck NA coming in as one of the newest members of Team Solo Mid, having arguably not that much time himself to practice with this team, but becoming a really solid shot caller and, really driving the team in a meaningful way.
Absolutely. So we are trying to get ready here for this next matchup, trying to sort out these rosters here in just a few minutes. It shouldn't be much longer. We are going to take a quick break here as we get ready, try to get this all sorted out, and then we'll get right back here and get ready for this game too. So we aren't ready to start just yet. We are going to take a quick break, but we should be starting any moment now. So don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back.
Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.
All right, we are back here getting ready for this matchup. It should be starting in just a second. We are trying to sort through some roster issues here. So Breerman, help me out here as I try to kind of work on this. Not entirely sure as we had some player name changes. It does definitely complicate it just a tad. So we will hopefully get this all sorted out in just a second here as we prepare for this matchup. But continue to talk a little bit about the week ahead. As well, because this is going to be, of course, a 2-day week. We got a game actually starting tomorrow as well. We've got Nemesis going up against Team Apex, and then of course we've got as well Nemesis going up against Enforcers and Apex Nemesis against Team Apex and Hammers versus Enforcers. Both teams that have qualified going up against teams that have not, but still a lot to be said about these young teams trying to make a stand here, trying to kind of, show that they've got what it takes to go up against these pro orgs. Definitely going to be interesting. Definitely going to be something to watch as we get ready for next season. So,
Yeah. Well, tomorrow we've got Enforcers versus Hammers, obviously, and Apex versus Nemesis. As I was saying, obviously these are matchups that have already been decided. But Hammers at 9-0, Nemesis at 7-3. These are just opportunities for Enforcers and Apex to continue to work on their game on a competitive level. You don't get that very often, unless you're setting up scrims with guilds on the regular. But people don't want to be, giving away too much, so they're not going to willingly walk into a 3-on-3 too often, at least. Teams, of course, do work together, but I think Enforcers and Apex are powerful players that do also have a lot to offer to this game here, and they're still kind of finding the moments where they're really going to shine.
Absolutely, and I think that a lot of these teams and orgs have really had to kind of figure out these last couple patches. We do see as patches come out, some of the orgs, especially teams like TSM, who are just focused on practicing day in day out, are able to get up to speed with the latest changes and figure out metas and create metas and surprise a lot of these organizations. We saw this in live finals faster than some of these other teams. A lot of teams are playing catch up, so that's something that we see a lot when we get into these really, really serious high-end tournaments and matches against teams like Team Solo Mid, Hammers, and Team Phoenix. They're just all competing to be absolutely the best, and some of these teams do play a little bit of catch-up, and sometimes with the new patches can kind of throw them for a loop and change it. But we've seen a lot of impressive play coming out of some of these other teams. Apex is another team where they picked up Marto as a support, and they're still pretty young, looking to try to find what works.
Yeah. Apex has been in kind of an interesting place for a while now. They were a team that I believe momentarily disbanded and then reconvened, finding that new invigorated life. And they've got a lot of talent that they've been able to draw from around the scene. And that's the nice thing about starting up a new group and working on a new idea, is that you do kind of bring in people who are looking for something fresh that they can bring to the table. But there's a lot of gameplay out there as Vainglory continues to grow older and older. People are learning off what's happened before and also developing their own skills coming up. So I think what we're both trying to say here is Enforcers and Apex are top teams that are going to be top teams, I believe, in the next season.
Yep, absolutely. Definitely have a shot. We are going to see them making their way through the Challenger Series versus being in the Evil 8. But it's definitely going to be very exciting to watch. And this new competitive structure that Super Evil has established with this season, kind of going into the next, setting the precedent on how these younger teams are going to have to work their way through the ranks, is very exciting because it makes it challenging for them. I mean, there's a lot. They have to battle through so much through the Challenger Series and then the Challenger battles. But if they do, the reward is just so great, and it's so exciting to see these teams be able to accomplish that, really showing that they have what it takes. And we saw that Nemesis Titan was a great example. They just dominated team after team in the Challenger Series, making their way and able to show that they had what it takes, actually knocking out Necrolite. And that was a team that got in there the same way and performed very well. So this is just something, that we've been able to see kind of bear fruit. The system, this Challenger battles and series that takes place to kind of showcase the young and exciting talent that's coming up through Vainglory, as well as being able to showcase these really top tier teams day in and day out during the weekend matches. As we get ready for the autumn season, as we close out this summer season, it's just been absolutely thrilling to see.
Yeah, this gets more and more fun every time we're seeing new things, and there's not a team that's reigning on the top like some sort of dark lord. So I love the way that there have been so many storylines and so many team swaps that have just created new and exciting things happening on the professional scene here.
Absolutely. Still, unfortunately, waiting to try to get this sorted out. I do apologize to all the viewers for this delay. This was not planned. As we try to figure out slight issues with some of the rosters here on the side of Ardent, so we are going to get that sorted out very, very soon. So don't go anywhere, guys. Almost there, actually. Right. Just a few more minutes. Brereman, I think we're both kind of shaking our heads here right now as far as some of the issues that we're running into and what exactly exactly is going on.
Yeah, we're talking about how fun the professional play is in Vainglory, but you can't always control everything that's happening outside of that. So we're looking to get our ducks in the row on this end here, as these players will finally make it into the stable so they can draft. But going into tonight, I think there's a lot of comp options open to Ardent. They've got a lot more mobility in their roster, and it looks like they're bringing some players that haven't been working together as a three-man team as often. So, while that can be difficult in a synergy situation, it can also bring a lot of new ideas, and we can see some counterplay to TSM, who have as of late, been working as this three-man team consistently.
Yeah, and very exciting. Sorry, guys, a little bit distracted here. We are going to go on a quick break here. We're going to have to put up the timer here as we sort this out, since this is just a little bit challenging. Sorry about that. We got to sort this out. It's just a little bit challenging, as we do have some issues that we got to get addressed here. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Sorry, so sorry, everybody, for this delay here. We should be having this next matchup fairly soon. Well, we are back, and we have some sad news here. Berman and I were just kind of getting it sorted out, but it does appear, unfortunately, that Arden had some roster issues, and they weren't able to get those roster issues resolved for tonight. And that's super unfortunate, because they definitely very promising team, but even in the height of competition, sometimes things like this can get in the way. It can be definitely problematic, and so we do unfortunately have to report that they're going to have to give the forfeit for tonight, which is 2 losses over to TSM, and that means that that glimmer of hope that they had of potentially maybe pulling off 2 wins off Team Solo Mid, it's not going to come to fruition, because unfortunately they just weren't able to get those issues resolved there, Berman, and kind of sucks.
Yeah, man, it's a big bummer. As we were kind of talking about before we had to take that break there, it's making sure you have all your backstage stuff lined up before you take it out. So tough breakup for them, and maybe they'll come back next season, with everything all where it needs to be. But going into tomorrow, we've got Enforcers versus Hammers, Apex versus Nemesis. We already talked about this, that Hammers and Nemesis are automatically going to advance to the finals. So I think we can acknowledge what our finals matchups are going to be next week. Is that right?
Yeah, we do. Cool. We do. So why do you got to watch tomorrow's matches? Because there's a lot to be said, as we go through the end of this season, and to be able to watch these incredible organizations play, there's, for North America, it's pretty much over for this season. So really, these are the last rounds of the summer season competitive play here on VISPRO. And, these organizations they still have a lot to say. They still, Team Apex could be that next team to make it through, the rising team. It could be the next Ardent to rise up through the Challenger Series here. So you're going to want to come and keep an eye on them, especially if you're aspiring to be a competitive player. There's always great tricks and new things being discovered in the meta that these teams are slowly starting to figure out, especially teams as high on the totem pole as Hammers and Nemesis. These teams have, constantly day in and day out looking to push the boundaries, and you can learn so much. Plus you get to come in and join myself as well tomorrow and hear me cast some matches, and that's always entertaining for everybody who knows me. So you're definitely going to want to come out, and of course after that we will be getting you guys ready for the championship weekend, kind of doing a quick preview of what to expect as we'll start breaking down the matchups. So that also will be taking place tomorrow, so you guys aren't going to want to miss that. But yeah, that does conclude our stream for tonight. Brerman, it's definitely a pleasure casting with you.
You as well, Dragon. We used to do this a lot more. I miss us.
Yeah, I miss us too. We'll bring it back, man.
Well, you take care of yourself. Thank you for having me on tonight. Great last week here. We're moving into the finals. Looking forward to what happens in the VISPRO finals.
Absolutely. Same here. So with that, it is good night. Thanks everybody for coming out. We really appreciate it here at the VISPRO desk. It's been absolutely a pleasure this season. So thanks for everybody. And with that, good night.
Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.